Good evening, Dayton. Welcome to the Town of Dayton Planning Board meeting, regular meeting for Wednesday, May 3rd, 2023. By way of reminder, this is a public meeting, being video and audio recorded for cable broadcast. Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. All right, so first order of business is to organize the board. What's the process for that?
So the chairman needs to declare that all
Offices are clear, officer positions? Sorry, I messed you up.
Positions are vacant.
All positions are vacant.
thank you, Woody.
All right, declare that all positions on this planning board are currently vacant.
I will make a motion to nominate Jeff Cavallo, chairman of the planning board.
I'll second that.
All right,
All in favor?
Aye.
do I vote? No, aye,
Ayes have it.
okay. I accept the nomination. Oh, it's too late.
I'll make a motion to nominate Mr. Daniel Higgins, vice chairman of the planning board.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Ayes have it.
I make a motion to nominate Chris Cunha as clerk.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, congratulations. Welcome, team. Should we switch seats, or?
Next meeting. we will.
Next meeting. All right, so great. So we are reorganized. Jeff Cavallo, chairman. Dan Higgins is the clerk, vice chairman. Apologies. And Chris Cunha is the clerk. Awesome, thank you. Confirming the next meeting is Wednesday, May 17th, 2023 at 7 p.m. And first order of business is to review, discuss, and act on the Form A application, ALE Realty Trust, 418 Old Somerset Avenue, map 4, lot 50. So if you can please come forward, share your name and address.
Good evening, everyone. Roy Delano from Lighthouse Land Surveying, 27 Jefferson Street in Taunton.
Thank you.
Here tonight representing ALE Realty Trust, who has property at 418 Old Somerset Ave. That property is 10 acres of land, has about 370 feet of frontage. It's oddly shaped with a back piece that a neighbor is looking to purchase. That's parcel A on the plan. That parcel is not intended to be a buildable lot, has no frontage. The remaining land, we're not touching its frontage, and it's got 7 acres. So at this point, I can answer any questions that anybody might have.
All right, thank you. Members of the board, you have the package before you. I've reviewed this. I don't have any questions for the applicant. Does anybody have any concerns with what you see before you? Joe?
I honestly, I'm actually gonna step off on this. Okay.
Are you
Recuse
recusing?
yourself?
Are
You have to recuse yourself?
Recuse
Recusing?
myself.
Okay, all right.
Is there a reason? I need a reason.
You need a reason why? You know the owner?
I know the owners, and that's one of the issues.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep, no problem.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I just have one question, would be the parcel that they're trying to sell off, or somebody's interested. I know there's no frontage, but the, and in this map, I really can't see the other parcel that it's abutting to. Do they have frontage? Could they put in a road for a subdivision, or?
Well, they have frontage on,
On Lincoln Avenue?
Riverside.
no, it would be on Riverside,
On Riverside.
which would be a challenge. They'd have to go to the planning board and.
All right, so, yeah, it's one of those houses on Riverside on the right-hand side?
Correct, last one on the right, I believe.
Okay, okay, I'm familiar with that road now.
Yep.
Yeah, all right, yeah, it would be tough to.
It's hard to see.
Yeah,
see it?
I was just wondering. Other than that, I have no other questions, thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you. Mr. Cunha? Mr. Higgins?
No question.
Okay. This looks pretty cut and dry to me. No concerns here. Thank you for putting together a good plan here.
We got some neighbors and butters.
Yep. Oh, Nate, we have some abutters present.
I have a question.
Yeah, if you can please come to the microphone.
Is it a single or is it a duplex that you're building?
No, no building at all. It's just land that'll be attached to another.
On 418.
No, nothing, no plans at this point on 418. There's an existing house on the property.
Okay. So you don't plan to build anything?
I think the plans are still up in the air. They're exploring what they can do, whether they'll whether they'll renovate the existing 418, tear it down and put something else. That's in the future, though.
So this was just for the little small piece
Yep.
in the back?
Correct.
Okay.
Your names for the record, please.
My name is Don O'Connor, 440 Somerset Avenue, and this is my webcam.
All right, thank you very much. Sir, you here for this topic? Okay. Any other questions? Okay. All right, hearing no other inputs, is there anybody on Zoom for this? No, okay.
Just us.
Just us, all right, by ourselves. Okay, hearing no other questions or concerns, entertain a motion to approve this Form A application for ALE Realty Trust, 418 Somerset Avenue, map 4, lot 50.
So move?
I'll second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion before we take it to a vote? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
No nays, and motion carries.
All right,
Thank you.
thank you.
We got some signing to do, folks. Joe's back.
Sign them up.
No, we're gonna do it
Oh,
right
this is
now.
a live signature. You're seeing this happen. Seeing the magic behind the scenes right now.
Hey, can I put Jeff Clover water sign on your lawn? He's running for water district. Sure. Against that Quinn guy. You can find him. That's fine.
He signs it there from the church.
Oh, yeah, the church signs, yeah.
Very nice signature, I should say. Quite a hot mess. Dan's is very. Yeah, I think Dan practices his a lot, I think. Mine will be different. How many times was I? 3
Yeah,
times?
yours is different.
Mine's different.
4 times actually, because I'm supposed to give the assessors and all that.
Oh, yeah. Tell him.
What do you call that?
Dayton Rock State Park.
Butterfingers?
A little bit.
You get access to that right from,
Bayview. On Bayview, yeah, over here.
really, I thought you had to go to,
No, Bayview Ave. Tell him to Google it.
What was it, late morning that you were there?
No, about 10 o'clock.
Guys, have a good night. Thank you.
Good night.
All right, next order of business is agenda item 583, Bell Farm Estates, 0 Milk Street, map 17, lots 10, 135 and 208, withdrawal of preliminary subdivision plan. So we received a letter dated April 25th, 2023, addressed to the town of Dayton for the preliminary subdivision review withdrawal request, CEC project 315, TAC 430. It says, Dear Chairman Carvalho, on behalf of Carl Rebello, the applicant, Civil Environmental Consultants Incorporated at CEC, would formally request for withdrawal without prejudice regarding the preliminary subdivision plan review application for the work at 0 Milk Street, Dayton, Massachusetts, assessors map 17, 208 and 226. Current order of resource area delineation has expired, and the client would like more clear delineation on the wetland line before moving forward with the preliminary plan filing and review. If you have any questions on the information submitted, please do not hesitate to contact the undersigned. And it's signed by Chris Vanderberg, I believe that's how you say that, PE, project manager with CEC. So this time I'd like to take a motion to accept the withdrawal request into record. Is that what we want to do with this?
Make sure it's motion, to withdraw without prejudice.
Oh, using his words. All right, scratch that. I'd like to entertain a motion to withdraw the request without prejudice for this project.
I'll make that motion.
Chris, and I'm sorry, who seconded?
Chris made the motion and Joe seconded.
Thank you.
All right, any discussion before we take that to a vote? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. All right, thank you. All right, so, last item there on the top is the 2023 and 2024 Serpred Commissioner Member Appointment. I served in this past year, the year prior, and I'm asking the board here if see fit to, I would accept the nomination if you decided to do so for the next coming year.
I'll nominate Jeff Cavallo to be the commission member of Serpent.
I will second it.
You know, I gave you the opportunity, Woody. You could have just scooped it right up there.
Oh, they called, they like you there.
All right.
You the man, they said. Plus you get to go to Bill's retirement party.
You're not supposed to say that. That's a secret.
Oh, it's a secret. I'm sorry.
It's a
I
good
don't
thing.
think it's a secret.
It's a good thing it's not on cable or
Right.
on YouTube or anywhere. All right, motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Aye. All right.
Now you gotta say you accept.
Oh, I accept the nomination. It's too late, though. It's way after the fact.
I'm sorry, who seconded that? Was it Joe?
Motion made
Joe
by
second.
Woody and then Joe second. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen. I will make you proud once again.
Oh, yeah.
For yet another
There you
year.
go.
Is that guy Alan still on there with the bow tie?
We haven't had an in-person meeting
Oh, right. 'cause
That's
of
it for a
COVID.
while now. Yeah.
He's a nice guy.
We had a in-person annual meeting, but we haven't had like regular meetings in person.
Right.
It's been Zoom, so it's kind of, I haven't really had a chance to see a lot of people. See them once a year at the annual. Okay, so, next item is review of zoning bylaw section. So, you forgot your book again? Did you forget your pencils too, or?
No, I got that.
Here you go.
Oh, here we go. Okay.
I don't know if you're gonna read that, it's microfiche. So, all right, so, so an email went out, I sent Mike Mullen an email, asking, about one of the topics we discussed at the last time we talked about the zoning bylaw, the site plan review, 5400. Well, we were concerned about the, what was that assessment called again? Not the assessment, the,
Development impact.
one more time? DIS, thank you. I have a hard time hearing sometimes. But the development, something plan, hang on, let me get there.
Development impact statement.
Thank you very much. Development impact statement, because one of the items that was on there, a list, list of resources and services, and one of them is schools. And we know, very well, we always have concerns about whether or not the schools can handle the growth in the town. You know, because we have, you know, we're with Dayton and Rehoboth, we have, obviously have a shared concern on that situation as both towns grow. So from our perspective, you know, I reached out to Mike Mullen to see if he can find out if there was any kind of plan or any kind of study that the school superintendent or the whole school organization has looked into. Because I went to I was telling Chris this earlier, I went to the school website to see what they had, if they had any kind of studies, future plans, or things like that. And the only thing I could locate was something called a SIP, School Improvement Plan. And the SIPs are really good, they're detailed, if you never had a chance to look at them, but they focus entirely on curriculum and things like that, and there might be teacher development in there too. I didn't go too far into it, which is, you know, obviously very important, but we're concerned about infrastructure. So I know that he was supposed to have a meeting or a conversation with the superintendent, and I don't know if that's here, but I don't know if we heard anything back from him. I know I haven't. So we need to follow up on that. So we got kind of an iron in that fire, so kind of on hold till we find out. But where did we leave off as a group here? I know we were marching through this. We need to go back here, but let's see. I know my notes kind of tapered off on 443. Dan, where did we leave off on your end?
I think we covered most of it up to like 5470.
Okay.
I don't know, we went through 5470, 80, 90. I only have one question out of that about 5480, which is the lapse
The
time.
lapse thing, yeah.
And that goes back to what Joe had said a couple meetings ago about how things just get continued and continued and continues, when actually we do have a mechanism in here, you know, even after we've approved something, that if things are being continued, you know, without good cause, we can, you know, we can stop, we can rescind, I guess, basically the approval that we've given.
Yeah.
Basically anything, if it's extended, it says lapse after 1 year from the grant thereof. But I'm sure, you know, if somebody came in and they had a multi-year project and we knew that, then it would be, you know, a lapse out of those plans. But
Yeah.
we do have a mechanism, you know, to rescind things if they're not showing good faith in terms of what they had come before us with.
Okay. All right, so that's good. That's good.
I just don't know if it, I mean, is good cause, is that, I don't know, like good faith, is that?
Well, I mean, I guess if a developer comes in, to me, that's, if developer comes in and there's reasons why things are delayed, and it's a reasonable explanation as to why things are delayed, vice, no progress has been made because they've kind of just abandoned the project. Right, I think that protects us against something just sitting there forever,
Yeah.
no progress. But I mean, I think that's up to us, up to the board to make that determination on what good cause or good faith is.
So the question would be, is that up to
Because-
us to monitor that? Because they're not going to come before us to say, I need an extension, probably. They'll just keep moving forward with the delayed
Like, how do you know to
progress.
ping on people when it's been 12 months?
What's that?
How do you know to ping on people when it's been 12 months? Like, how do you know they went from a site plan review, they got approved, and whether or not they went and got a building permit is a different story altogether, but say they just get a site plan review and then they do nothing.
They do nothing. So I have a little spreadsheet
Okay,
that I keep an eye on, and if they don't pull a building permit, I send a reminder out saying, hey, you, or sometimes they'll get in touch with me.
is that something, because I know that Jim talked about that not online
Permitting process.
permitting process thing. I'm wondering if that's like a feature of that, where somebody puts something in and the timer starts and automatically lets people know, hey, this
It
person hasn't
could.
done a thing.
I'm sure there's a mechanism within that program
Yeah.
that would allow that. Because, for example, if someone goes for a building permit that requires a site plan review, he wouldn't issue the building permit without that site plan review.
Right,
So then, once the site plan approve is done, there's gotta be a mechanism within that permitting link or a program that says, yes, a special permit was issued on May 3rd, 2023, and then that's when the clock would start ticking.
okay.
So it would seem to me that that program system would have something, but it's something I can certainly ask about.
Are we, not to get off on a tangent?
Yeah.
Is it going anywhere?
It is.
Yeah.
It is. I believe that we're looking for a little bit more funding on some of that, but I know they're working on, diligently
Okay.
on that.
Yeah, because other towns, like Swansea's full up. I think that's what Jim said. They're full up on that
Yes,
system. Yeah, we're way behind that. We're
Yeah.
behind the curve on that. Okay. Thanks, Carrie. So was that the last thing you had?
Just one other question, that's kind of maybe for Carrie. Under the definition of a minor site plan, it talks about, it's not the individual request that's coming before us. It's an aggregate of all such requests at that site made in the previous 5 years. I don't know if we even technically have a way to do that. It says it here, but in practice, in reality, is that even something we can do? Because otherwise, we're just looking at each individual one, and they just come with a series of them year after year, but in theory, we should be looking at an aggregate of all of those requests before we say, this is no longer minor. It's an aggregate over 5 years, usually
Yeah, it
further
does
as a
say that,
major.
doesn't
yeah.
Yeah, it's on the previous 5460.
Yeah,
Ooh.
how would we even do it?
Could
You couldn't do it without, like, something like that online
Yeah.
that said, oh, wait, that property has X and, over there. So many, you'd almost have to build your rule
Right.
set on this website.
Yeah. I mean,
Would there be a way to, if anyone comes with a minor site plan review, they would have to include and we would have to verify any requests over the last 5 years. So when something gets presented to us, we would have the history,
of that.
the last 5-year history of whatever requests or site plan review.
That'd be part of the lookup. We don't do that, right? We don't say, somebody comes in with a site plan, we don't say, oh, we need to do a lookup to see what they've done on that property in the last 5 years. It's never been part of our decision tree, and it should be.
Maybe just make
It
it part
hasn't
of the
been-
application process.
Part of the decision, however, in the way that I do the filing system within our office, when anyone submits an application, everything within my computer, or in my computer files, and in the paper files, everything is done by property. So, excuse me, so if I were to create that new file, when the application comes in, I would see that that property's already there. And then I would say, oh, okay, they submitted an application. What was that application? Oh, it was a site plan review. And then I'd be able to see it right then and there, whether it was a major or a minor. Does that make sense? So, and then if I would go to my paper files, I would see it that way as well, too. So I kind of, without knowing, right, I kind of had that system in place already. But that also would be something that would be built into the permitting link process too, I would think. Does that make sense?
It does, it's just not something that necessarily comes to our attention right today.
It wouldn't be something that would come to your attention. It would be something that I would be looking for before I would even accept the application or say, yep, this is a valid application, we're ready to accept it and move forward with it. So if someone were to come in with their 6th minor site plan review, I would say, wait a minute, guys, you can't do that because I already have these 5 here. This isn't a valid application. So it really wouldn't be hitting your agenda because it wouldn't be a valid application. We wouldn't be able to accept it. I hope that helps. And that was what, section 50,
5460,
thank you.
minus site plan paragraph. So, any other tidbits there, Dan? Chris, before we circle back?
None here.
Lenny?
Good.
Mr. Figueredo. All right, so, I only have one question, and this is just as, my anal retentive personality coming out. Section 5700 should probably be severability, only because that's what every other section in this entire book calls that same section, not separability.
Is that what it says?
It says severability here, but every other
Oh, so
section
it's a
of the
typo?
bylaw says severability. For the same thing, where it says, "The invalidity of any section or provision of this bylaw shall not invalidate any other section or provision herein."
Yeah, it should be
It should
severability.
be severability.
Typo.
And just, my spidey sense went off when I read that. So as this sits today, and, you know, we talked about, the big piece right now, 5460, is everybody shows up and they promise on everybody that it's a minor. And we need to be more firm on what is a minor, what's a major, and what's required in both of those. So as it stands today, even if you show up with a minor, you've still got to provide quite a bit of things, right? Unless we have a waiver request in writing today. We're talking about, you know, I have a note here that says, or verbal. We still have a lot of questions about the DIS, which is a different section, but I'm trying to just kind of roll up all our inputs here. I got a lot of comments here that Kerry has captured. But as it stands today, until this bylaw gets changed, we're obviously still stuck with this. So I think to be, per the letter of the law, looking at what we have here, it's pretty firm on what the threshold is for a minor versus a major. And it says, construction not to exceed a gross floor area of 2,000 square feet. It will not generate the need for more than 10 parking spots. The 10 parking spots, to me, is kind of a funny thing, because the 10 spots actually is the derivative of the 2,000 square feet. 10 parking spots shouldn't be the threshold. It's a square footage of the gross floor area of the project in question. So I think the parking spot thing got added because there are situations where the only thing being put together is a parking lot, where, you know, we have an applicant right now putting a project in town, and they were going to severely limit what they were doing to try to fit it in the minor threshold area. And I thought that was a mistake, because it would be a detriment to the project. You know, and I think it's okay to leave the parking spot thing there, but I think it should be or and not and. You know what I mean? It shouldn't be and, or and/or, whatever makes sense. But construction will not exceed total gross area of 2,000 square feet, or will not generate the need for more than 10 parking spaces. Because if it's 2,000 square feet, you need 10 parking spaces per the front of this book. If it doesn't have square footage, if it just has parking spots.
So let me just ask a question. I don't know the right answer, but, so I do know of a business in town that has a gazillion parking spots on their property today. Probably know who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And they want to add more. Just parking.
Yeah.
They want to build out even more, add more parking.
Have they made any other site plans in the last 5 years?
Probably, I don't know.
Okay.
But just say they haven't, and they just want to add more parking. If they want to add 20 more parking spaces, they just want to pave over some area and put striped lines down, that, if it's an or, that would be a major site plan.
That'd be a major site plan.
Right.
How we have it written today.
I know.
Yeah.
Or, you know, that's why I was thinking about also the language going forward. Because in my mind, that's not a major site plan to pave over some land. You know, you're not doing a building, you're not doing anything, you're just paving a parcel of land. That doesn't sound like a major, you know, but that's the way it would be, could
Well,
be construed.
if there's, in that situation, it can be a major with a waiver requested.
True, yeah.
You know, I mean, that's a very special case.
Yeah, that's why I think it might be good to just take that line out and
Parking
not
spot thing
parking.
altogether.
Yeah, just, if it's derivative of the construction, then we know what it is.
But what if it's a project that only has parking?
Well, that's what I'm saying, there's one that's coming down, that's
Well,
what's
what
gonna
if you
be.
give somebody a break and you don't give the next guy a break? Right? And I say this all the time, you know, if there's a business doing so well that they need 25 more parking spaces, obviously they're making good money. And that's, to me, my opinion, is the cost of doing business. Most people don't understand the cost of doing business because they've never worked for themselves. But, you know, when you own your own business, there's costs associated with that. You know, so, you know, being a business owner is not necessarily for everybody, but, if you're looking, a lot of people that come before us are looking for waivers. Nobody wants a major site plan review because it costs more money, right? But obviously, these businesses that are coming to us, they're making money, you know. And then you may get another business guy coming here who really just needs the extra space, but don't really have the business generated yet because he's new. It's tough on a new business. So I feel that we need to treat everybody fairly, whether or not you're making mega bucks or whether or not you're just starting out. It's the cost of doing business, and they need to follow our rules and regulations. Whether we want to change the regulations, well, that's up to the five of us.
But the other thing that we also have to look at is if it's an existing business in the town and they need that extra space, and if we give them a hard time, we could also lose that business to go to another town. Those are things that we need to keep in the back of our minds as to how we treat it, because we cannot afford to lose business out of this town.
Well, you're saying it's okay to do favors.
No.
Well, that's what it sounds like.
Yeah.
Okay.
In a sense,
Right?
yes.
It's the
but
cost of doing business.
We have to try to work with them in any way possible to make it work. If it's through
Right.
a waiver or whatever it may be, if there's other options, I think we have to look at all avenues to
Right.
not lose the business out of the town.
Fair enough, but I just don't agree with, you know,
Yeah, that's
taking care of one and not the other.
Yeah, no.
I'd like an even
I
slate for
understand,
everyone.
but, you know, I think that's something that,
If you're a business, and I don't even know what business you guys are talking about, but it's doing that well
None
that
of
they
us
need
do.
25 more parking spaces, well, gee, I wish I had a business that needed more parking. Right? 'Cause-
Exactly.
Right.
and if we don't give it to them.
There's
guess what?
businesses that don't need the parking they have. Those are, the- you know, you gotta feel bad for them. But these are the rules and regulations. The planning board don't make them, right? We just follow them.
And
We don't-
We make recommendations to change them,
Right, well, the people have to vote on
and
it.
the people have to vote on it.
Right.
Yeah, I know.
It's the people's choice. And the people chose these rules. That's all I'm saying.
Honestly, nobody showed up for the meeting.
Right.
All right, so, so anyway, I guess the point I'm trying to make is, yes, I'm good with being consistent, and I want to be consistent, I want to be fair, and if we think things are out of control, then we should change them. I don't see anything out of control here. And if 2,000 square feet, or if we don't like that second sentence, or 10 parking spots is not a good threshold, then what do you think the threshold should be? I say or because it can be ignored.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I was just, my only thought was, you know, including parking spaces, and then you have a business that's, all they want to do is put in parking spaces, not touching their buildings or putting up new buildings and
Right, but this,
forcing them into a
the
major.
or is that either it's going to be under 2,000 square feet, and the reason I want to leave the parking spot, the reason I think we should leave the parking spot sentence in there, part of that, is if we have a business that comes to us that is just putting in a parking lot.
Right.
Right, and there is no square footage of
Correct.
gross floor area, doesn't apply. So if you get rid of that second one, then it's like, oh, is this a minor or a major? Or we have no reference to parking spots here, now what do we do? We got rid of it, we used to have it.
Okay, that's fair enough.
So if you leave it and, it's a combination of
Yeah.
the two. If it's or, then it's just
Right.
one or the other.
Yeah.
And if we're focused on, like, somebody comes to us, we're like, all right, I'm putting a lawyer's office together, and it's got 1,500 square feet. All right, we do our calculations, we know how many parking spots are required, because that's a separate section. Parking spots are not even a consideration in the site plan threshold, it's just a square footage of the business. We can ignore that second part. Do you read that the same way? That's what I'm thinking. But a minor plan doesn't mean you don't have to do this stuff. Nowhere does it say you don't have to.
Correct, yeah.
And that's where we've been making a mistake. Because it says, on the second half of 5460.
This guy over there.
Oh, this guy. Unless otherwise waived at the request of the applicant per 5450, which is the waiver request, minor site plans shall set forth all of the information required by 5440. So it actually doesn't give them an out automatically unless they ask for it. And it also doesn't give them an out to make a major or minor anywhere. That's not even an option. So once it hits 2,000 square feet, it's a major. Sorry, game over. That's all I got to say about that. So I don't know if you guys wanted to dig into this more. Chris was asking earlier if we were gonna try and make the annual town meeting with this. We're out of time.
Yeah, too late.
Yeah, we're too late because all the warrants are in. I would like to, so I kind of got a roll up here. I want to do a deeper read. I keep saying that every time, but I will do it for the next meeting. A deeper read to see if there's any more gotchas. If you guys can please do that too.
Of this section?
Of this section, but
Could we do this at a special, or does it have to be an annual?
They prefer annuals.
Prefer, well,
The zone, yeah, it's preferred to do,
we did the last one on the special.
yeah, yeah. It is preferred to do it at annuals because that's
Well,
typically when more
they used to
residents
prefer a lot
go.
of things, but you look at the last special.
Yes.
Hmm.
But zoning bylaws have been presented at specials.
You guys can please give 5340 a good read, which is the dis. And I'm gonna follow up with Mr. Mullen to see if he heard back from the school superintendent on any plans for, if the school has any plans for any expansion studies in the coming years, because we're concerned.
They talked about that today at department head meeting.
Excellent.
And I think they had like $150,000, and Mr. Rooney said they need more than that
For a study.
for a study.
Okay.
So, I wasn't at the meeting, but somebody told me about it, so that was discussed today.
Well, we've got them talking about it then, that's good.
Yeah.
That's a big deal, because they probably weren't gonna talk about that until we kind of started asking questions, but I'm glad we got his attention, and, step one is get the money, step two is conduct the study.
Yeah.
So, glad to hear. Thank you, Mr. Rooney. All right, so, anything else, gentlemen, on this for today? We got some homework. Double? All right. Anything else, Mrs. Easterday?
No.
Okay. All right, next item on the agenda is approval of minutes for April 5th, 2023. Somebody make a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor? Aye. Aye. Thank you. Carrie, is there any correspondence for us this evening?
No, there is not.
All right. Any public input? Input. All right, hearing none, make a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that
Make
motion.
that motion. Second,
All in
whatever.
favor? Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Number 39. Thank you. Good night, Cable.